occupational therapy was actually developed like back in the war, and veterans would come home from the war and like be depressed, and it is about engaging in meaningful occupation. So that's kind of where it started. It started with war veterans being able to find something meaningful for them to do so that they could engage and have purpose to life. So, but now occupational therapy has kind of gone into helping people of all ages engage in meaningful occupations. And for kids, that's like play. Kids, meaningful occupations are play and learning how to grow and communicate and develop physically, emotionally, and mentally. So kids who benefit from OT are kids who have difficulty with any kind of visual motor, fine motor, gross motor coordination difficulties that are impacting the way that they interact with their environment or do their kind of daily living activities. So those are things like ADLs, being able to get themselves dressed, being able to feed themselves, being able to play, being able to regulate themselves enough to participate in daily living activities or participate with their family or with their friends. OT at home is one of my favorite settings to do OT because we're right there in their natural environment, and that's kind of where we want to be able to help the kid, and we get to work with the family, which is important because the family is the person there that's kind of encouraging the growth and setting the example for the growth. Tips for fine motor development is just really letting your kids use your hands in so many different manners. So whether that's like playing in the grass or playing in the sand or exploring different textures, a lot of sensory rich play is what kids need to develop their motor skills and their sensory skills. And often these days a lot of kids are getting a lot of like flat screen time. So there's just a lot of like poking and scanning instead of the real rich play like Play-Doh and sand and water play is all great for that fine motor development in the young years, and then growing, like when kids get to elementary school age, still doing things like where they have to manipulate. So puzzles and Legos and building blocks and all of that thing is great for fine motor. So yeah, we do offer teletherapy. It has been interesting going into it, but I think it's great that we are able to still see our families weekly, and since a lot of the therapy we do in the home anyway has to do with parent education and working with the family to help the child, I think it's been a great way to be able to continue to connect those dots with the family, that we can see them and do parent education, and the parent has a chance to really work with the child in the therapy that we've been doing weekly. It is challenging, and we understand that because OT is very hands-on and it is very hand over hand, but I think the great benefit is that parents can learn these skills from the therapist over teletherapy. The biggest progress that I see a lot is in kids who have like sensory difficulties, because there's a lot of, first of all, it's kind of like a mind shift for the parent to see their kid through kind of the lens of this is a sensory difficulty and not a behavioral difficulty. And once parents can start seeing that way, then you see a lot of like the kid changing because they're able to actually fulfill the sensory need in order to participate in the activity that they're wanting to do. So for example, I have this kid and all the mom wanted him to do was to be able to sit at the table and eat dinner with them, and it turned into kind of this behavioral battle between the mom and the kid. But then as soon as we got some sensory techniques in there, like that the kid had a chair that he was able to feel his body in better, that he was able to keep his body still, or some kind we used actually a chair with sides and armrests, and then we had a weighted blanket that he could use so that his body felt safe, and then his body could sit still and he could sit at the dinner table and eat dinner with his family. So to get started in OT, we are a related service, which means that you have to get we have to be referred by your primary care physician. But the best thing to do is if you have any questions, you can talk to your doctor about it first, but feel free to call our office and we'd be happy to talk you through kind of these steps.